So Void Interactive just released a teaser trailer for the upcoming Home Invasion DLC. If you haven't seen this trailer yet, I'll have a link posted in the description, or you can wait until the end of this video to check it out. The 3 new maps that we will be receiving when this DLC releases are going to take place during a Category 5 hurricane. And this is actually pretty cool as it's rather unique, and I definitely wasn't expecting this type of setting in the game. Now the trailer itself portrays a bone-chilling feeling as you hear rain, thunder, and wind whistling with a news broadcast playing on a monitor in a kitchen. This does appear to be a, I guess, more middle-class home, maybe even could be the mansion home that we saw in the screenshots from before in my last Ready or Not development briefing video. The broadcast itself makes it clear that this is a serious storm and several homes and businesses will receive major damage. In the newsletter as well, we do get a description with this teaser trailer here, and there's an urgent weather message that goes into detail as to what is to be expected with the storm. It explains that the severity of this storm will leave large parts of Los Sueños uninhabitable for weeks and perhaps even longer. Now, in real life, we have seen major storms like this lead to increased crime. A lot of this crime being centered around looting, as well as burglaries and robberies, and other types of major incidents as well. As a good example, Hurricane Katrina in 2005, there was an incredible amount of looting that occurs just hours after the winds died down. During a major disaster like this, natural or man-made, individuals who did not have supplies will typically seek out those who do in order to survive. They will use any and all means to get supplies they need, and this includes looting, burglary, robbery, and sometimes even worse than that. It is also important to note that the government was essentially nowhere to be seen during the Katrina disaster, and many criminals could get away with major crimes due to this. Another terrifying fact with disasters like these is that many survivors would resort to using deadly force on looters. This was actually very common, and many would even set up warning signs warning looters that they will shoot on sight. It really would not be too hard to believe that those trying to survive would also use force in order to obtain what they need. One thing I noticed that I thought was very strange is that Los Sueños is based off of a fictional Los Angeles, which is located in California. It is extremely uncommon for the West Coast to receive hurricanes. In fact, this is due to the combination of cold sea surface temperatures, cold ocean currents, and unfavorable wind speeds, making it extremely hard for hurricanes to come by the West Coast. However, it isn't entirely impossible for this to occur. In 1858 and in 1939, California saw gale force winds which killed nearly 100 people in 1939, and unknown reports of deaths in 1858. I couldn't find any reports of major crimes that occurred, like looting, during these storms. However, I did find out that if a storm like this happened in modern day, it would cost over $500 million in damage to homes as well as other structures. And I think due to this, it is fair to assume a similar outcome compared to other disasters like Katrina, which resulted in high crime. With all of that in mind, I think this setting is incredible for enriching the player in an environment that is clearly set up for unique encounters. If you do look closely on the monitor in the trailer itself, it looks like they are showing off the new maps here. They show off the rundown neighborhood residential houses, as well as the mansion-looking house, and they also show off what looks to be the distraught abandoned buildings. And this lines up with the screenshots we were looking at in our last Ready or Not development video. They all look super similar to what we were seeing there. Unfortunately, we do not have a release date for this new Home Invasion DLC. Void Interactive is attempting to avoid disappointments, as they have stated this before in previous updates. I think it is more than fair to assume at this point that with a trailer release, we may be seeing the update much sooner than we think. I could be wrong though, so don't quote me on that. It is a possibility we could be waiting another month or so before we get an update. I'm just speculating because we have seen new updates shortly after they've released trailers before in the past. Void Interactive also released a newsletter along with the trailer trailer, and it primarily showcases the home invasion trailer itself, but we also get some further news regarding mod support with the Unreal Engine 5 transition. They say in the newsletter that they have successfully managed to complete their open source modding tools, and from what I understand with this allows for modding support to continue when the DLC releases while we await the official SDK. I am unfortunately unsure on whether or not the current mods that we have that currently work with this version of the game, whether or not they will be compatible with the DLC update. And I'd assume that most, if not all, mods will have to be updated just based off of the complexity of upgrading from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. However, we will just have to wait and see what happens. Hopefully Void Interactive gives us some insight on what's going to happen with current mods. In my last Ready or Not development video, we went over all of the upcoming features for the new upcoming Home Invasion DLC. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'd recommend checking it out so you can see what we're going to be getting. There will be a link down below in the description for you guys to check out. Either way, that is going to be everything to go over. Hopefully we don't have to wait too much longer to play this new update, and I am super excited to get into this and share some content with you guys. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of the video, and we will see you in the next one.
The extent of the damage to the property, but for Los Sueños, the situation is still quite different. As you get money makes all the city.
Oh, okay, we're losing time out there. Let's move over to this breaking LSN storm update. Video that we're pulling up now is starting to roll in from across LS, and we can see just how torrential this downfall is. A quick recap on some fast facts regarding Hurricane Antonio. We're looking at winds of up to 170 miles per hour with gusts up to 190. As Antonio continues to move across these regions, we're going to start to see more flooding in.
Hurricane Antonio has now been upgraded to a Category 5 storm. Extensive damage to large parts of Los Sueños is expected. Certain areas are likely to be uninhabited.